just because I want to do a special event on the AI revolution. There's something happening with investing within AI. JP Morgan just announced they're going to invest $1.5 trillion into all these various industries to prepare for national security going forward. And it's a big deal. And I thought that I would spend a day doing a deep dive. And so the training's not free, but because you're here and because you guys come on Wednesdays, I'll get you guys a link that will really drop the price by about 80% for you. So the fee is $79, but I'll send you all the exclusive link to take 80% off that price. So it gets a little bit of funding to the Black Business School. You get lifetime access to the slides and materials, and also you learn a lot. So that's what we're going to do next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'll be out of the country at that time as well. But I'll make that special link just for you. If you want to receive it, text the word greatness to the number 87948. A lot of you are on that text list already, so just text greatness to 87948, and I'll send you that 80% off link once everything's all set up. All right. So give me 1 second here. All right. So what Dr. Anderson is talking about this week in his book Dirty Little Secrets, which you can get a copy of that book at powernomics.com, is he's talking about marketing and how the Sambo image of the black man, particularly, and the black woman, has been just such a great marketing tool. Like it's literally a money machine in terms of if you want something that's going to make you some bread, then get you a little funny looking Negro on the ad, and you'll make all the money that you could ever dream of. And this is something that has been going on for hundreds of years. It's something that's been highly effective, and it's really fascinating to me because it helps me understand the fascination that other people have with black people. Like I'm really, I think just I've always been intrigued with the way they are so intrigued with us. Like why is it that they pay so much attention to us? It's like we're so important to them, and but they hate us. Like so, how does that work, right? But I think it's not so much like a necessarily a hate. It's more like I think that where we end up frustrating people is when we show up and we want to be equal and we want to be just as good, maybe even better in certain areas, and that's just not acceptable because there's like a hierarchy there. There's a hierarchy that people have. So it's like, no, we don't want black people to go away. We just want them to learn their place. We want them to just learn to remember who they are. Like you're not us, right? You're not like us. You're not like us, right? So I kind of feel like when we're really thinking about racial hatred in a thought in a kind of a deep way, um, I think it's more so one of these things where I don't know if I necessarily would say that everyone just hates us. I think they love us when we know our place, right? I think they love us the same way you love your family dog. You love your dog, but if your dog bites you, or if your dog decides he wants to drive the family car, or the dog wants to, be treated like a human, then you're like, no, you're not a human. You're a dog. Like, stop it. It's just if you would just play your position, then everything will be okay. So I think that sometimes what happens is those of us who maybe I was talking to a young man today, and I said, yeah, it's funny. Like they love it when you're a YN. They don't really like it when you wear that quarter zip and you're showing up trying to be a mature, intelligent black man that's got a plan and you're being industrious and productive. That makes you a competitor. That means you're going to compete with them for the best jobs, compete to build businesses and get customers, compete in industry, and that is going to create kind of a rivalry where you can talk about it in terms of hatred, but I don't think anybody likes their rival. I don't think anybody is friendly with anyone. I'm talking any of any race. People aren't really friendly with people that are taking something that they believe that they should have access to, right? So I don't. I think that if we get into the simple thing like, well, they don't like us. That conversation is not interesting to me because there's no person that ever enters into a real competition, a football game, a basketball game, or anything, and is worried about whether their competitor likes them. Of course, they don't like you. Of course, they're mad at you, right? The only way you can make them like you is if you choose not to be a threat. Now, if you choose not to be a threat, or if you fulfill their agenda, then of course they're going to love you. You're an asset now. You're not an asset to yourself. You're an asset to them. You understand? Does that make sense? Right? And really, like, so if you're black and you say, I'm gonna be the best damn black Republican I could possibly be, well, of course Donald Trump's gonna put his arm around you and say, I love this guy. Where's my African American? Right? Like, he's gonna love you. If you say, well, I'm gonna really fight like hell for the Democratic Party, because the Democrats are well, then of course they're gonna embrace you. Right? You fulfill somebody's agenda, That's like going to the store and buying groceries for their mama. Like, of course they're gonna like you. You're serving them, you work for them. And also, people like you when you are, an excellent sidekick. Like if they're the leader and the primary beneficiary, and or if they're driving the car and you're a passenger and you pay them to ride in their car, then they're gonna be like, yeah, well, I love my passengers. They help me make money. So it's all about hierarchy, in my opinion. And I think that sometimes we forget that hierarchy is really what's happening here. It's not so much like, but they just don't like black people because they just don't. If you ever want, I could give you a training manual on how to get white people to like you. It's very easy, right? Just do what you're told. Like, just go find a rich white guy and say, "I'll serve you, sir. I want to get a record deal, so I will come to your house and bend over and let you have whatever you want. You can take all my goodies, and and he'll love you. He'll take you on trips. He'll take you to Paris." Right? So anyway, let me stop. Let me stop being stupid. All right. So one of the things I wanted to read and dig into is Dr. Anderson in page 222 of the book Dirty Little Secrets, which you can find at powernomics.com. He talks about Sambo ads being used to promote pizza. And he mentions this. He mentions in 1996, the Michigan Chronicle brought to the public's attention a Sambo pizza advertisement used by Domino's in Guatemala to sell pizza. Domino's Pizza is a domestic and international business that is based in Ann Arbor, Michigan. The advertisement featured cartoon-like drawings of dark-skinned people wearing bones in their curly dark hair. These pictures were accompanied by a written message in Spanish, which then translated and said, "We realize that you work like blacks, and naturally you will eat like cannibals." The ads proceeds to offer a special on his pizza with a Coca-Cola. I gotta Google that, man. Did anybody else know this? 1996. That's crazy. Who's doing that in the 90s, man? What's wrong with you? All right, so let me see here. Uh, let's see. Sambo Pizza ad Domino's Guatemala. Okay, Guatemala. Okay, I don't know how to spell Guatemala exactly, but let's see what the Domino's in Guatemala can. Oh man, this must have been scraped from the this must have been scraped from the internet because I can't find it. Let me give me a second. Let me see if I can find it. Wow, wow. Let me just type racist pizza ad. Racist. Let me see. Racist ad Domino's Guatemala. There we go. That's how. There's nothing here. Wow, wow. Okay, so Domino's must have just got rid of it because it's not. Let me see. I'm gonna type 1996. Um. Hmm. Nope, this I cannot find this image anywhere. How crazy is that? Isn't that interesting? Yeah, so thank you to Dr. Anderson because y'all know as well as I do that this isn't something that they're ever going to talk to you about in school. But let me show you some images that you can find on the internet that do exist that are very, very real. Here you can see, the pop-up little black Sambo, right? You can see some of these other images of us that really reflected how they saw us. They kind of saw us as these cartoonish, buffoony characters that and we were just fun, little goofy Negroes, I guess, are entertaining and hilarious. You remember Judy Garland, right before she did Wizard of Oz? Did y'all know y'all knew about her doing blackface, right? That she did that movie in blackface. Let me see if I can find images of that. Let's see if did the internet get rid of that too. All right, so let's see. Here we go. Let me pull up the Judy Garland blackface. She did this right before she did Wizard of Oz. So let me show you. Here is Judy Garland, and she plays, kind of a simple-minded pickaninny. And like they asked her, how did you get all the way from South Carolina? And she said, I flew or something like that, or something. I forgot what she said. She said, or flapped her arms, or she walked, or it was something ridiculous. And she did this right before Wizard of Oz. How crazy is that? How many of y'all knew that? How many of you did? Is that? Am I surprising anybody? Did you know? Okay, I see a lot of dams and holy cows and shock emojis. Okay, so I take it that they didn't tell you that in school. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So before she was singing about being over the rainbow, she was singing Dixie like a little pickaninny. All right, so there we go. So there's some Black history for you. And so there's a real fascination with this Sambo image and to sell products. And it says here, the Michigan Chronicle pointed out that in some Spanish-speaking countries, the word Negroes can be translated as either blacks or slaves, depending on the context. In the ad, it was possible to insert either meaning. According to the article, a Domino's representative claimed the company did not create the ad. Our franchisee ran the ad. Domino's is a franchise business, and franchisees produce their own marketing. We found that the ad was discriminatory and extremely offensive. When Domino's found out about the ad, the local franchise was ordered to stop running it. Even on the eve of the 21st century, many still feel at liberty to use degrading images of black people in advertisements. And I'll take it a step further. Um, I'm gonna make an argument that you may or may not agree with, but I put up an image on my Instagram. My Instagram is Dr. Boyce Finance, and I put up an image of this to kind of illustrate just that idea of the fun-loving goofball, Negro has always been like a really powerful kind of thing. It's really something that is that's really done really well in marketing. If you look at Diddy, he had that whole interesting Peter Pan thing going on, where this man was 50 years old, still dancing around like a little 12-year-old, and the big smile, the big flashy shiny stuff, and it's like not serious, never serious, like never be serious, always be fun. And Dr. Anderson will give you the history and the context of this. Dr. Anderson met Diddy. I told you about that, and he went down there. He didn't understand. He asked me. He said, "Why?" He said, "These Negroes are all wearing tights and acting weird." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "It's because they're gay." I said, "Don't hang around there too long." I said, somebody probably want to have sex with you." I said this to him years ago, back when Diddy was very popular, and so he was confused, and so I said, "You're gonna have to learn today. I don't want you to learn the hard way because ain't no telling." See, they're up there trying to slide in the bed with Dr. Claude Anderson. How dare you? I'm kidding. He did not do that, but still, anything can happen. Anything can happen at a Diddy party. All right, so Dr. Anderson, please stay away from the Diddy parties. Do not go back to New York. All right, so here, let me read more of this. And here's where Dr. Anderson helps enlighten us on this history. This is important. This is why men like him, these are national treasures. The Francis Cress Welsings, these are our people. We don't need your historians. We got our own. We don't need your schools. We got our own. We don't need your teachers. We got our own. In fact, we want our own. We don't just have our own as a backup. Black educators and black scholars should not be your freaking plan B. Black scholars and educators, in my view, should be our plan A. Dr. Anderson is our plan A. He ain't second to nothing in my book. He ain't second to nothing. He's primary, right? So here, because you're not going to learn this anywhere else. So let me read some of what's here on page 223 of the book, Dirty Little Secrets. You can get copies at powernomics.com since Christmas is coming. I hope if you got some, if you're sitting on extra money and you're buying gifts, go to his website, buy a whole bunch of books and give them away as gifts. You can do this. You can shape your own destiny, shape your own reality. Me and my wife gave away Powernomics books at our wedding. We didn't receive a single gift. I was like, I don't need no gift. I'm okay. I'm good financially. We gonna give you a gift because you got on a plane and came to our wedding. So everybody at our wedding got a Powernomics book because I'm making it front and center. This is who I am. This is what I'm all about. You ain't never gonna wonder who is Boyce Watkins because I'm telling you who I am. Period. Tell them who the hell you are and don't be scared of nobody. Let me keep going. All right. Praise the Lord. All right, so here we go. Memorabilia gains popularity. White racism, by its very nature, forced black people to be pathetic, ignorant, comical figures and the butt of jokes. Look at those rappers. Look at some of those goofball rappers. Not all of them, but pathetic, ignorant, comical figures and the butt of jokes. That's why it's very easy to be successful if you're a black comedian. Stripped of their African heritage, history, language, humanity, and a broad sense of peoplehood, they were given ill-fitting names, clothing, and titles. So clothes that didn't fit, just like sloppy clothes that hang off your body and stuff like that, right? You've seen anybody seen how many people out here sagging and all that, right? Ill-fitting clothes and titles like little this and little Negro, little whatever, little all the rappers got the word little in front of their names, right? Like they want to be little kids, and it's funny. It's like, oh, you little, and then where they were required to respond inappropriately or in childlike fashion in adult situations. So they were required to respond in ways that either were inappropriate, like profanity, right, or they responded with ignorance or like a child, right? And so hip hop culture, unfortunately, a big chunk of it is very immature, very childlike. I hate saying, I watched the Diddy documentary, and you see Diddy always, you know, like a little kid. And then if you go to, and then what's crazy is even when you go to 50 Cent's page, all you get is childlike responses. All you get is childlike behavior. Go if you follow. I don't. My wife follows 50 Cent. I said I can't follow this because I can't follow a black man who is almost 50 acting like a kid. Everything is a joke. Everything's funny. Everything is trolling and clowning. And it's like, no, you're not. No one takes you seriously because you're not a serious person. You might be doing well in entertainment. Well, of course, because entertaining black people will always be rich, 100%. Serious black people, you're gonna have to figure out your own path, right? So that's just what it is. So here it says they were denied an education to keep them ignorant, the fruits of their own labor to keep them poverty stricken, open immigration to keep them a permanent minority. So they open the floods of immigration to kind of dilute you and get rid of you, and access to political tools to keep them powerless and under control. Without status and dignity, it was predictable that businesses would develop around the creation and selling of artifacts that disparaged blacks and portrayed them as ugly, ignorant, uncivilized sambos, clowns, jesters, and buffoons. Sambos, clowns, jesters, and buffoons. Ignorant, uncivilized, sambos, clowns, jesters, and buffoons. You tell me, give me a yes if you can see how, if you look at the imagery, particularly in music, how do you, when you turn on that TV and you're watching black people in the most popular videos, do you see ignorance? Yes or no? Do you see uncivilized behavior? Do you see sambos? Do you see clowns? Do you see jesters? Do you see buffoons? The clown will never be the king. The clown will never be the king. If you look at a lot of, and I'm not, and this, people don't, I guess people have an issue with it, but I'm sorry. You go look at the internet and look at what young people are consuming that's considered to be successful black entertainers. It's usually very goofy behavior, just really silly, very ignorant behavior. And when you come in and you say something intelligent, people are like, "Well, why are you being so serious?" Or like it's like your whole community's not taken seriously, even though you have some of the most serious issues imaginable, and those issues don't get addressed, which is why the community ends up still remaining in the toilet. A big chunk of the black community is in the toilet. Not all of it, but a big chunk of it is because no one is being serious enough to address serious problems. You don't have any serious people around. You have the clowns sitting there laughing and making jokes about it, but no one is serious enough about actually solving the problem. When white folks, wealthy white folks in particular, want to solve a problem in their neighborhood, they become very serious. Like nobody's more serious than that rich white lady at the HOA meeting, right? Like she will be walking, going by people's houses, taking notes and getting angry because you have a green mailbox and you're not supposed to paint the mailbox any color other than brown. Like she, they're serious about protecting their stuff. Or you'll see serious court battles where they'll be battling over who gets ownership of Netflix and Warner Brothers. Netflix is seriously fighting Paramount for ownership of Warner Brothers so they can control the whole entire media landscape, right? We just try to get a record deal. They try to control the whole freaking thing, right? We're trying to get a ride to the city. They want to own the damn city. They want to own the whole everything, right? So at the end of the day, it's like where are the serious black people and why do we somehow act like that's not appropriate when no, everything can't be no joke? Why is it that the most powerful black people in America are like comedians and rappers? That's weird. There's no other community where that's true. Tell me who's the most powerful Asian comedian that runs half the Asian community. There is nobody out there like that. But if you go to the Diddy documentary, Diddy literally was the guy telling black people who to vote for a few years ago. He was sitting next to the president of the United States. Now I think Barack is serious. I like Barack actually. I liked him a whole lot. He carried himself very well. He now mind you, he was still working for someone. He was still an employee of the Democratic Party, which says that his power wasn't necessarily true power, but still it was progress, right? And I'm not here to be picky about it, but at the same time, the unfortunate reality though for Barack Obama was he had to run away from black issues. When Dr. Julianne Malveaux, a PhD economist from MIT, one of the smartest, baddest, most serious black women out there, right up there with the Frances Cress Welsings. God, shout out to the smart black women out here. Dr. Julianne Malveaux, who I'm proud to say is my friend, she snuck in. She sneaks into the bougie Negro crowd. They see me coming. When the boulets see me coming, they're like, oh, we got to get away from this guy. But when Julianne Malveaux comes in there, she slides in because she's Julianne, right? And so she got an interview with Barack Obama because she had a friend who knew a friend, and he was sitting down because he's like, oh, I think this is a safe black person to talk to. So he sat down with Julianne. Julianne tells the story. She told the story in my podcast. I think she also mentioned it in her book. She wrote a book about about Obama's presidency. It's out there. I don't remember the title. But I know the Black Business School bought a couple hundred copies. Maybe I can find it or something and send it out to you guys as a gift or something because it was a good book. Um, and anyway, so she sits down with Barack Obama, and she wasn't like, "Hey, Negro, why aren't you doing nothing for black folks?" She didn't attack him. She has a lot of respect for him. She did very respectful. Let me tell you what she did. She basically just said, "What about reparations for African Americans?" And do you know? Guess what happened? Wait, this interview's over. I got who decided that we were gonna have this? It was like a walk away, like I'm not saying another word. I'm not. It was like that. It was like that, right? So again, not to disparage Barack, but come on. And but here's the deal. You know, right? When you work for McDonald's, you can't talk about Burger King and White Castles and all that. You're not. That's not your job. You work for McDonald's. You can't talk about eating healthy and everything else because that's not what they're paying you for. So if I'm an employee of the Democratic Party and my cousin comes in and says, "Hey, cuz, you're supposed to help feed the family," and the rule book says if you get caught giving free food away, you're going to get fired. Then I'm going to say, "I'm sorry, cuz I wish I could help you, but you're going to have to buy your own cheeseburger." Right? So ultimately, that ability to establish independent black power, really, that's the quest. And the thing about independent black power that's really important to understand is you don't have to be really rich to have this. You just have to have what is referred to as economic sovereignty. Economic sovereignty just means that can't nobody tell you what to do because none of these people are controlling your purse strings. Nobody's paying your bills but you. You are set up in a certain way where you can move left or move right and you don't have to ask for permission from anybody. You're not afraid of anybody. You don't have to be rich to do that. You just have to get overcome these various addictions, these addictions to whatever it is, whatever you're chasing, the fame or the fortune, or the addiction to the corporate plantation, or the addiction to white validation, or whatever it is that we're addicted to. If you overcome those things, right? If you overcome simply your addiction to money, like if you don't need a lot in order to be okay, then that gives you a type of freedom that a lot of rich people don't have. There are a lot of rich people who are basically the financial version of a drug addict. They're addicted in the sense that if you cut off their money, they're going to go crazy. They're going to lose their mind. They're going to be in deep, deep trouble. They're going to be stressed out. Right. So if you can get to the point where you're not in that situation where people can cut you off and things can, deals can be cut, then you have a level of freedom that most black people don't have. An example might be, and what it does is the reason it's important is because sometimes things need to be said that are not comfortable for people to hear. Things need to be done that are not comfortable for people to do. So I remember when some of you remember when I literally just said I don't like the fact that Lizzo goes around promoting obesity to black people because a million black people a year are dying from obesity related issues, and I don't think that we should encourage each other to be unhealthy, right? And I got bashed and attacked, and all the white media got together like one big cyborg, one big blob, and they all wrote the same article, and they all called me a sexist. They said I hate black women and I'm oppressing black, like that, all this stuff, right? I'm like, I'm not oppressing her by saying I want you to live and I want black women to be okay. Like what that's not oppressive. That's like, but still, it doesn't matter. Media will make their own narrative. So because this narrative took on a tidal wave, because Lizzo responded to me, that's one of the things that, and the articles are like Lizzo tells off, sexist black professor, it's like, yeah, okay, so yeah, you think that getting fat is good for black people, even though a year later everybody was saying everybody needs to go get that shot because black people have obesity more than everyone else and they're dying faster than everyone else. But still, no one looks at that. Nobody thinks because it's fine. We live in a world where people don't think critically, and I get it. But here's the thing. So because of that, I had a speaking engagement canceled. I was supposed to get $10,000 to speak for the A.G. Gaston Society down in Alabama. I had spoken for them the previous year. They absolutely loved me. They loved me so much that they wanted to have me back because the talk of freedom sounds really empowering. When people hear this for the first time, this idea that as a black man or black woman, you can actually have a plan and build real generational wealth and be truly free in this world, that's exciting for people because slavery stresses you out. Right? Oppression is difficult. Hey, it's really hard to go to work every day at a job that you hate, right? So when you have a PhD, someone with a legitimate PhD, you can go look my doctorate up on the internet. I didn't get it. I didn't send in like two Wendy's coupons and get it in the mail. Like I had to really earn my credentials. When you hear someone that can credibly and simplify and simply explain a simple plan that will help you get there, that's very exciting. So they embraced it because that's what A.G. Gaston had. A.G. Gaston had a type of economic power that most of us don't obtain, but he learned that from the Jewish family that his mother washed clothes for. They taught him about wealth preservation. They taught him the things culturally that they do to build their wealth, grow it, protect it, acquire it, all these other things, right? That's why AG went to a whole nother level. It's almost like when the Chinese kid grows up in the hood and learns how to play basketball real good, then he goes back to China and he gets to be the Michael Jordan of China, right? It's kind of like that, right? So, so that's kind of what I want us to be. I want us to be like the financial Michael Jordans of the world, right? I believe we can be that good. I know that we can be that good. So anyway, so they canceled my speech, and I knew what was going on. I was like, okay, now I get it. You got corporate sponsors, and the media is telling you that I'm a bad person, and so you can't make your own decisions because somebody else is paying your bills. I've seen it before, and I didn't care. For two reasons. One, in my contract, you're going to pay me 10,000. You pay five in advance. And I get to keep that no matter what, right? So that's risk management, right? So that's one rule when I book speaking engagements. That's what it is. And then number two, I was financially secure. I'm not one to throw away $5,000, mind you, but I'm not gonna like leave my wife because you're sending me a $5,000 check. Like I'm not. I don't even want to leave my desk. I don't even want to go anywhere. I was like, well, at least I get the weekend off now. I can watch football. But I ain't. If you think I'm gonna apologize, you barking up the wrong tree. No, like why would I apologize for telling the truth? Why in the hell do we live in a world where black men should have to apologize for wanting black people to be healthy and safe and not suffer from all these preventable things that are killing us every year? Like, why in the world would I apologize for that? What makes you think that makes it? It only makes sense for me to apologize if you live in a world of economic desperation. You live in a world where you weren't necessarily equipped and trained on the riskiness that you're facing as a black person in a capitalist society. It's very risky to be black in a capitalist society. Because here's the thing, if you understand capitalism the way I do, what you'll realize is that economic desperation is a tool that is consistently used by oppressive forces around the world to control populations they need to control. They never want your black ass to have very much. They don't. If you go watch the Diddy documentary closely, and I want you to pay attention to the part where the lady says, "Yeah, Diddy didn't pay people because he didn't want you to do well. He didn't want you to be financially secure. Because if you became financially secure, then you wouldn't need him no more. That would undermine his power. He couldn't slap you around, tell you what to do, take your booty hole at nighttime. He couldn't do all these horrible things because you're good. Now you have the ability to walk away. You're empowered, and Lord, that's not gonna no pimp wants his hoes to be empowered. So at the end of the day, that's the key. That's the secret. Every time black people use the word freedom, I really, really wish people would meditate on what that really looks like and what that really means. We love to use it because it appears in all these Negro spirituals and they talk about it at church, but I don't know if we really know what freedom means. Freedom means that, you go back to basic things like FU money, like Calvin's talking about. Calvin, that's my guy. FU money. Like, do I have enough money to say fuck you? If you come in here, I go to a Diddy party and you want to play with my testicles, do I have the ability to say, get your hands off of me, I'm leaving? Like, if you don't have that ability to do that, then you probably need to think about what your strategy is. You're going into a battlefield unprotected. You don't have any armor. Your wealth is your armor. And it's also the armor for your children. So if you don't love yourself enough to do it for yourself, then at least love your kids enough to do it for them. Because if they go into this world with economic armor, and that's just freedom, that doesn't mean wealth. They don't have to be rich, just free. That means free of the influences that can come with people dangling carrots in front of you. They use that specific term in the Diddy documentary. They use the term dangle. He likes to dangle carrots in front of you. So he will sell you a dream, sell you some hope that you might blow up. You might get the record deal. And as a result, a lot of people got hurt because of that. So anyway, let me keep reading here about Sambo ads. So we're talking about different types of memorabilia and stuff like that. So the Domino's ad, we talked about that. Check this out. White Racism by this is page 223 of the book Dirty Little Secrets by Dr. Claude Anderson. You can find a copy at powernomics.com. That's his website. So I hope you go to powernomics.com and make it rain on this wonderful man's platform because his books are unmatched. Okay. So white racism by its very nature forced black people to be pathetic, ignorant, comical figures and the butt of jokes. Stripped of their African heritage, history, language, humanity, and a broad sense of peoplehood, they were given ill fitting names, clothing, and titles, and required to respond inappropriately or in a childlike fashion in adult situations. Let me skip forward. He says, without status and dignity, it was predictable that businesses would develop around the creation and selling of artifacts that disparaged blacks and portrayed them as ugly, ignorant, uncivilized sambos, clowns, jesters, and buffoons, aka hip hop. In the 1700s, black images appeared on a limited number of manufactured items, such as dolls and fine porcelain figurines that were produced by Japan, Germany, France, England, Austria, and the US. By the 1800s, negative black images can be found on souvenir items such as salt and pepper sets, tablecloths and towels, lawn jockeys, and other household items. Two American companies located in New York and Ohio dominated the negative artifact market by the early 1900s, but had to compete with general businesses that use negative black images to promote and advertise their products. On the eve of the 21st century, negative images still appear in toothpaste and pizza commercials in Latin America and Japan, so that's still happening. At the turn of the 20th century, negative blackness continued to sell commercial products up to the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Negative images of blacks adorned every conceivable product. The most popular images were those of the black mammy, old uncle, and pickaninnies. Black faces appeared on Quaker Oats products, Old Virginia bread pans, Mammy's Shanty Restaurant, Aunt Jemima Waffle Mix, Mammy's Orange Soda, Louisiana Coffee, Dunkin' Admiration Coffee, Mammy's Charcoal Aid, Old Virginie Cashews, Mammy's Favorite Coffee. Images and caricatures of black men appeared on the label of Cream of Wheat, Uncle Ben's Rice, Colgate Toiletries, Warrington Rum Cakes, Bixby's Satinola Shoe Polish, Dr. Laguerre's Lice Powder, Negro Head brand oysters, Old Black Joe beans, Old Black Joe, and Uncle Remus syrup. Images and caricatures of young children were used as ads for Pickaninny Coffee Shop, Sambo's Pancakes and Restaurants, Sambo Chocolate Drink, Coon Chicken Inn, Cotton Patch Restaurant, Darky Toothpaste and Peppermints, Gold Dust Twins soap products, Sharp Point Cobbler's Nails, Boyce typewriters, B-O-Y-C, Boyce typewriters. That's crazy, right? Boyce typewriters, Soraba and Fatu matches, Just Right barbecue, Dixie Kid cut plug tobacco, Cantaloupe smoking tobacco, Mascot baking powder, Mason shoe polish, Sunny South peanuts, nigger hair tobacco, fun to wash washing powder, um, honey child sweet shop, honey child, Whitman's Pickaninny peppermint, Alexander's tomatoes, and nigger toes nuts use primitive characterizations of blacks. Did you learn about any of this in school? How many of y'all did y'all learn this in your public school? Give me a yes or no. How many of you learned this in public school? Did somebody go to a really good school that was teaching you all this stuff? That there is a long history of dehumanizing you. That's the point I'm picking up here is that ain't nothing new out here. Ain't nothing new. It's a continuation of a tradition. It's how you're seen. It's you're expected to be at the little children's table. Hip hop music, unfortunately, a segment of it has become a real strong manifestation of this. I never understood. I was like, why would 100,000 white kids all pay money to go sit and watch a black man with 80 pounds of gold chains around his neck, walking like a gorilla, holding his testicles, and rapping about shooting black people? Like, why would calling himself the N word? Like, why would they pay money for that? I really never understood that. It didn't make sense to me. I was like, this is stupid. But now I get it. There's a history. Their parents did the same thing. They just did it in a different way. The Negro in his worst, I imagine, in his most childish, has always been quite entertaining to the rest of the world. No different from a gorilla wearing a tutu, right? It's funny, it's hilarious, right? Or the bear at the circus, wearing like a thong and riding a bicycle. with a pink hat on. Like that's hilarious, right? That's so funny to watch. So to some extent, this is what. So I don't know if a lot of our entertainers understand that people are not laughing with you; they're laughing at you. They're looking at you and they're saying, "Yeah, these people are so funny." And this is a continuation. What we see now is a continuation of this. Comedic postcards with degrading depictions of blacks were also very popular and profitable. By the 1930s, American companies increased their profits by contracting the manufacture of those products to Japanese, Chinese, and other Asian companies that had low-wage labor markets and ready inclination to produce negative black artifacts for American consumers. Asian countries continued to be major producers until the 1950s civil rights movement made degrading blacks unacceptable. By the 1980s, with a rising tide of national conservatism, black memorabilia was a growing industry with collectors paying 1,000% markups on the original cost of negative black artifacts, figurines, advertisements, lawn jockeys, and postcards. Clearly, there are endless ways to make money by making fun of black people. Surprise! Surprise, surprise! We have just finished the book. We need to clap for ourselves because we've been reading this sucker for a year. I probably don't make it any easier because I end up going on tangents, but we did it. We have read every single Dr. Claude Anderson book. We need to I don't have a noisemaker, but if I had one, I bring Bucky into the celebration. We did it, we did it, we did it, we did it. So congratulations to all of you that have been coming to class all these years because we've been reading Dr. Anderson's books for like 6 years or something, 5 years, like probably since 2019 or something. So the fact that we finished, I just love that, and now I'm really thinking about like what I want to do next. And there's this book that's been looking at me like it's been like sitting over there just blowing kisses at me and looking real sexy and tempting. And let me grab it real quick. Hold on. This is a book by Dr. Walter Milton and Joel Freeman, PhD. I think I met Joel Freeman at the FraserNet conference. He's and it's called Black History: An Inclusive Account of American History. So I don't know if you can't see it because of the background, but this book it's really big. If we read this book, it's going to take us a decade to get through this sucker. But it goes through everything in terms of Black history. There's a whole section on the Nation of Islam. There's a section on I'm seeing here Margot Lee Shetterly. The author of Hidden Figures. There is something about, let's see, Unit 5, The Great Migration and Its Aftermath. It's a really well done book. Really well done. And so I think I might read some of this. I'm not going to do the whole thing though because it's kind of big. I think it's almost it's 1,000 pages. Yeah, it's 1,300 pages. So it might take a while. But we're gonna learn our history though. I really think that I think we have to get past this idea that somehow we need magical white people to teach us our history. I don't think that we do. I think that we can teach ourselves, and we've got the scholars to do it. We got the thinkers to do it. So yeah, so we'll just I don't know. We'll just jump back in at some point and figure it out. We'll just figure it out. But let me give you some little facts about this whole history of Samboism as a pathway to market products. A lot of you may not know this. Many early 1900s brands used a lot of black caricatures because white consumers associated with the images with happy servitude, right? So reinforcing the myth that black people were naturally suited for domestic labor. So ultimately, this psychological reinforcement of a racial hierarchy is really what this drives. It allowed, I think, for there not to be much guilt about things like slavery because you'd say, hey, they're happy, they're happy to serve us, right? Also, the laughing Sambo figure was so popular that companies sold mechanical coin banks where you had a black figure swallow the coin when you push the lever. So you push a lever and the Negro figure like takes in like swallows the coin. So these weren't just toys. They normalized the idea of black bodies that they were objects for amusement. Also, you had coffee, tobacco, and even motor oil companies that used minstrel style black faces to show trustworthiness or hospitality. So we were seen like the smiling Negro was seen as something that was safe and inviting. And that's something you see so much in entertainment. I would say even poor Terry Crews. Like I think Terry Crews is the big buck smiling Negro, and that's what makes him so successful. If he ever became overly serious about a racial issue, I think he'd probably be booted from Hollywood pretty quickly. I don't dislike Terry Crews. But you see him on these shows, and and he's making lots of money, because he's big like a gorilla, right? So he's kind of, well, not the gorilla. I don't call him a gorilla, like the Hulk. He's very muscular, right? So he can be scary if he wants to be scary. For us, he's probably pretty scary. Like when he deals with other black men, he becomes very serious and ferocious. But when he's on TV, he's usually smiling and being funny and dancing and stuff like that. Um, and it's also the message was that black labor made products more homey. Isn't that funny? Homey. That the word homey has been used for a long time, right? Not just in hip hop. And so the same advertisers that would use black images on their products, they wouldn't actually hire black workers, right? They wouldn't hire black managers for the company, but they would use black people as mascots. So you had kind of a role that you were supposed to play. A lot of restaurant chains in the 1940s and 50s used Sambo imagery to attract white families, actually. The caricature signaled that the cafe was a safe, docile, entertaining space. These signs were intentionally placed near highways and tourist routes in during Jim Crow. Also, the last remaining Sambo style brand mascots in America weren't retired until the 1990s and early 2000s. Companies resisted removing them because the imagery had become deeply tied to nostalgia. So the memory of the good old days, that kind of thing. And so ultimately, what you're fighting against is this deeply embedded version of what could be called racist capitalism that is something that isn't going to go away. So there will always be room for the coonish rapper. There will always be room for the black man that wants to call himself the N word and speak ignorantly and just embarrass himself and his family. There's always money for that, right? And if you measure, and this is why money becomes very dangerous, if you measure success solely based on how much money somebody has, then you're going to fall into a very easy trap of capitalism. With some of the rappers, and just so I don't dislike all the rappers. I have to reiterate myself because sometimes people think I just hate rappers. I don't. I had a long conversation with the rapper Immortal Technique, and it was an enjoyable discussion because you like it when you admire someone's work and then you meet them and they are just the same person that you thought that they'd be based on their music. So Immortal Technique's a very intelligent guy. He's a black man from Peru, but he gets it so well. And he one thing that he just said in an interview he did with one of our team members. I didn't interview him, but somebody on our team did, and it's on one of my channels. As he said, all money ain't good money. And that's all you gotta say is that all money ain't good money. Just like food, all food ain't good food. So food is not the issue. It's unhealthy food that gets you in trouble. So, but if you focus on health food, then you can be full and be healthy at the same time. So all money ain't good money. There's healthy money, and there's toxic money. If you avoid the toxic money, focus on the healthy money, then you can be rich and righteous at the same time. You just being rich does not make you evil. Money is not the root of all evil. No, that's not. No, the financial addictions can be the root of all evil. Financial desperation can be the root of all evil. Chasing money at any cost can be the root of all evil, right? So if you are a person that says, "Hey, I know I'm successful because I have money," and that's your only criteria, then to some extent I would refer to you as a one-dimensional person because you're not able to understand the nuances and the complexity that come with being human and having a purpose higher than just the base level acquisition of resources as a measure of your worth. Do you understand? So somebody having money does not make them a good person, a smart person, a successful person, none of those things. When you tell me I have a lot of money, first thing I'm gonna ask is, well, how'd you get all that money? How'd you get so rich? Like, how'd you do that, right? And what you'll find, unfortunately, is that when you go behind the curtain, some of the most successful, most prominent black people paid a horrific price to get what they wanted, and it came at the expense of doing terrible things to people, going into rooms that they had no business being in, being a part of things that were harmful to others, and just doing things that weren't healthy, and I just would say, if you are financially conscious, this is why consciousness matters so much. All it means is it's just like being conscious when it comes to food. A person who is food conscious, you can't put a plate of slop in front of them and say, "Here, eat this. It's delicious." You can't, and they say, "Well, why should I eat it?" You say, "Well, because it tastes good." That's not conscious. But I want you to think about how many people will eat something just because it tastes good. Am I lying? Go to a fast food restaurant, open up a Popeye's chicken in the hood. See how many people will go up in there, won't care what ingredients, what chemicals they're put in that chicken. They put anything in that chicken, but if it tastes good, people will eat it. That's that's one-dimensional thinking. A conscious eater is going to say, I know the chicken's good, but let me look at the ingredients first. Or this fast food stuff, I can't eat too much of that. I'm not even saying avoid it. Maybe you say, I'll take a little bite because it does look good, but I'm not going to eat too much of that because that stuff's going to kill me, right? I had a talk with a young black man, and he was talking about a friend that he had who's suffering consequences from alcoholism, and I said, yeah, I said, we don't realize that liquor is poison. And people who don't think about it, they just think about the feeling liquor gives you. It makes you feel good, but it's still poison. If you look at, just go have somebody break down all the crap that's in alcohol to make you act so crazy. And I'm not even talking about the social consequences. Your stinky breath self then got behind the wheel and killed somebody. When I was at Syracuse, all these sexual assaults would happen because all these kids would become alcoholics at 18, 19 years old. And it's very sad because now that we're learning what alcohol does to your body, they're just starting life on the wrong track. And so my question would be, okay, why are you drinking so much? Well, because I want to have fun. Well, maybe if you consciously sit back and think about it, you can find ways to have a blast without killing yourself. Why can't you have fun without the liquor? What's happening with you psychologically that makes you feel that you gotta put the poison in your body for you to laugh and joke and have fun or have confidence? You don't need a liquor bottle, you need a therapist. That's what you need. I had a blast in college, but I didn't pick up a drink because I ain't trying to go up in here and do something stupid, because I didn't got drunk and did something that's out of character, right? So ultimately, these are some things that so the same lessons you would give to your kid when it comes to eating consciously or thinking about what you're drinking or whatever. Same thing applies to your economics. Get Help your kids make money, help them be rich. And one thing I've learned also about morality and making good choices is that it's much easier to do the right thing when you're in a position where doing the right thing is not going to be very costly to you. You're right. A financially desperate man has a much harder time doing the right thing if it runs in the face of the person that's paying his bills. It's really hard to do that. Like so walking away from Diddy is really difficult if you have, addicted your mind to the desperation of trying to become successful at all costs. It's very difficult if you know that this man is paying your bills and you have no other way to pay your bills. It's very difficult if you have attached your identity to whatever you're doing together, right? But if you have sort of prepared for that in advance, then you can go in from a much stronger position, and you're able to follow your conscience a little more effectively. When I was at Syracuse and Bill O'Reilly on Fox News tried to get me fired, my ability to stand up with him didn't come from me being courageous and brave. People congratulated me for being brave enough to stand my ground when I was being attacked on Fox and everything. But it wasn't really courage. It was financial security. Financial security gives you courage. It's like, oh, well, I don't really need you anyway, so screw you. Yeah, I'm, losing this job would kind of suck, but I'm all right. I'm gonna be okay, right? So if every black person had that commitment to financial security, you would see a whole shift in behavior. You would see a whole shift in behavior, right? So let's shift the economics, shift the psychology, shift the culture, and then you will shift the behavior, which will ultimately shift the outcomes. Make sense? Let me know. Is that the plan? Going ready? Break. All right, we got this. We're gonna do this. Assalamu alaikum. All right, Black Power. All right. So so anyway, before I let you guys go, don't forget Dr. Claude Anderson's books can be found at powernomics.com. Christmas is coming. I hope you'll consider getting some things for your kids from powernomics.com. Also, the Black Wealth Calendar for 2026 is available. Those make excellent gifts. I don't know. It's the 10th, so it's kind of like I think we could get it to you before Christmas, but a lot of orders have come in. But we'll ship it out as soon as you send in the order. So feel free to go to blackwealthcalendar.com. You can put it up on your refrigerator and to have Black Wealth principles to remind you of who you are every day, what you want to do economically. Okay. And also next week, don't forget at 8:30 Eastern Wednesday night, I'm going to do the training on the what's going on with the JP Morgan investment in national security. I'm going to break that down for you and show you exactly what stocks I would look at if you wanted to be invested. I think one way of making money is putting your money where the rich people are putting their money. I guarantee you they have inside information. They're not just moving based on luck and hope. You don't become a multi-billion-dollar company based on luck. You have research and you have inside information, all these things. So I'm gonna break it down for you in terms of what I see, and that's gonna be next week. And I will send you all a link where you can join the training format for an 80% discount. I promise you, I'll make that coupon for you, and I'll text it out to you. So if you want to receive that, then get on the text list. Text the word greatness to the number 87948. So text greatness to 87948, and you'll get that link. And that's my thank you for coming in, and also just an apology because I have to switch out our Powernomics training for that training because my schedule's a little bit busy. I'll be out of the country at that time. All right, so have a good day, everybody. God bless you. Thank you so much for listening. It was awesome to see you, and have a good night, everybody. See you soon. Bye bye.